Hello learning designers. In this video I'm going to overview Learning Task 3, the Interdisciplinary Unit Plan Showcase Poster and Prototype. Both of these tasks are directly interconnected with Learning Task 2. Starting with the poster, the idea behind the poster is to communicate your design that you have planned and put forward in the website in a visual way for a synchronous audience. All sections of this course are going to have a shared exhibition at McEwen Hall on the 31st of October. Obviously, because we are working at a distance, you will not be expected or likely be able to attend in a synchronous manner for that showcase. In the other sections of the course, folks are going to have printed their poster and have them displayed in a trade show type format. Our posters will be displayed digitally on a screen. We'll also have an exhibition for our own course via Adobe Connect on November 1st. The idea behind a poster is to have the important information so that you could then speak to the rest of the design. I think of this as analogous to the bulletin board that often is created for pitching projects at a school level. It could also be thought of as a one-page handout that is often given to parents and students in order to overview expectations of a project. This on the screen right now is my attempt at creating a poster for the Learning Designers project. So this is my prototype. As you can see, this is the information that I determined was important, connected with the QR code that brings you to the website that provides more information. We're going to work with graphic design, hopefully build some understanding of how designers work, criteria that they use, and tools and processes that they use near the week 6 of our course to support you with developing your poster. So more information on how to do that later, but the big picture is that you're going to develop a poster that's going to share the big ideas and the salient information of your design. The second component of this project, this task, is the prototype. A maxim that I'm always using with myself and with teachers doing project-based learning is to do the project yourself. In this prototype, you're going to be asked to do the project that you're planning for students yourself. First, this has a lot of affordances. Number one affordance for me is that by doing the project myself, I get a sense of what steps I needed to take and what creative process I needed to pursue. And then that allows me to consider how do I support students through that process, think about what additional scaffolding the students at the grade level or skill set that I'm working with have. And I can really understand that better by myself going through it. Also get to work out a number of different hiccups, things that I wouldn't have been able to anticipate, that I receive insight from by doing it. And also it really gives me a lot of authenticity to be able to speak to students about my own creative process, be able to walk them through how I took up something, show them the example of it. It builds a lot of credibility with students, but moreover, it positions you as a learner along with students. I can't underscore the importance of this. So what you're going to be asked to do after you've considered, of course, the big concept of your design and how it is that students are going to demonstrate their learning, you're going to work through creating a prototype of that deliverable yourself. We'll get into more details about how this differs from a craft. Of course, if you look at my website, your website will still be a website and it'll have much of the same information, but there's so much opportunity for you to do the creative thinking around our essential question and the expectations, that it's not about you creating an exact replica of something that students are going to create, but rather a prototype or an exemplar of one way that this project can manifest itself. So if you're asking students to create something that's 3D printed, you're going to do 3D printing. If you're asking students to create uh, uh, an interactive website, you'll create an interactive website. If you're asking students to create an exhibit at TelSpark, you'll create an exhibit at TelSpark. So one thing that teachers always ask me about the prototype is, well, how much time does this take? And can I go through all of those processes that students are going to need to do? It does take time. Sometimes your prototype will be not fully fleshed out and published in the same way that students will be. For example, if you're planning on having students publish a magazine, you may not yourself go all the way through to have it published. You'll wait until you do that workflow with students, but rather you'll do the writing, have the layout done, be at a place where you would be prepared to send it through to publisher, but it wouldn't make sense to publish a single article of a magazine without all the rest of the student work. Or if you're going to make an interpretive trail sign and it's going to be put into a park with forged out of aluminum, etc., you may have everything prepared to go to that stage of production. If that's being done by an external support group or a community contact, etc., you may have a prototype version which isn't exactly the same as the version that students will finish with, but it does need to represent the thinking and have the same stages of the process. So as we get further down, we can wrestle more with that distinction. But the exciting thing about this is that you get to put on the hat of a maker or a creator and go through a process of making something you're proud of that's going to be in the image of what you're going to ask students to do. The rubric in our course outline provides you with detailed criteria for how both the poster and the prototype are going to receive summative assessment, but we will dig deeper into these component parts as we get to develop it. Both of these deliverables are going to occur much later in our course because you need to have done the thinking behind the design before you can begin either of these. And when we get to those weeks, you will receive more specific introduction. In fact, you may even be watching this video much later in the course, but I wanted to provide it for you up front so you knew what we're taking on. So more to follow.